happy midwinter in New England. I would appreciate you that you turn off your cell phones as this meeting is being recorded. Ellen, can you please do the roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone.
Who's going to do our...
Ms. Callan Carson?
Here.
Mr. Carey? Mrs. DeRoberts?
Here.
Ms. Hernandez-Williams? Mr. Riley?
Here.
Ms. Walters?
Present.
Mr. Weiner?
Here.
Vice Chair, Mr. Lacavoli?
Here.
Chairperson, Mrs. Granato?
Present.
And Wethersfield High School Student Representative, Ms. Angelica Data.
Here.
All present.
All right. Can I ask Mr. Ken Craig to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, Michael, we don't have any student and staff recognition, or we do?
We do have staff student
Okay.
recognition this evening. We have some friends here from Webb Elementary School who are going to come up and do a presentation. Come on up, everybody.
Oh, look at these three.
All right. And we also have a visual presentation. If we could have that, that'd be amazing. Thank you. All right. Well, while they're setting that up, good evening. It's an honor to be here tonight
I love having you.
to share what's wonderful at Webb, so many things. And I had a hard time choosing what to share today. It was really difficult, but I think you're going to understand when you see this presentation why these very special students are up here. We have wonderful families here to support them, amazing peers here to support them, and these great student leaders. So, as the presentation says, student voices matter here. And one of the things that we try to do at Webb is to elevate those student voices so that students know that when they have an idea, that their trusted adults at school will help them see that idea through and will help build the leadership skills that they're going to need to be successful. And every student you see up here is a leader. And they might not have known that they were a leader when they started out with their fresh ideas and they brought it to me. But through the journey to make their idea and their vision come to life, they took on so many leadership responsibilities and they learned so many valuable lessons. And you're going to hear about that today. And I think you're going to notice it in each and every one of them. Even culminating, and I want to thank you for sharing the stage with us tonight, because culminating tonight is a leadership skill of being able to speak in public. And as you can imagine, many of them were nervous about this. And there is skill there, right? There is skill. And we worked on that when we practiced for this presentation. So I'm going to turn the floor over to these wonderful students so you can hear about their journey. Every project that you're going to hear about was 100% student initiated, 100%. Their idea came from them. I asked just the right amount of questions to get them to the right steps to see that to life. And then it turned out to be amazing results. They had an impact on their school, their community, and in many ways the world. So thank you again, and I'm going to turn it over. But before I do, our first student that we want to highlight, unfortunately, is not feeling well tonight, so he can't be here. So I'm going to present on his behalf, and I think I feel comfortable doing so because Luke Vitaliano was one of the first students who started this journey into students taking the lead and making a difference. Now, a couple of years ago, he reached out via email and expressed an idea to raise money for Shriners Hospital, and he wanted to take on a number of steps to do that. And he worked tirelessly with his family, even over the summer, and through the school raised over $750, and in the end, in total, through the work of the community, raised over $1,000 for the Shriners Hospital. But more importantly, what he did, and I don't think that he knew that he was doing that, was that he sparked something in other students because they got to see what he was able to accomplish. And they got to see the impact that he had. So from that very humble beginning about 2 years ago, we started to see more and more students who wanted to make a difference in many ways. So you're going to hear about the Tiger Club, the Puppy Club, right? And we have even more clubs that are down the pike that students want to bring to us. You're going to hear about the Teacher Appreciation Club, and you're going to be hearing about the Cleanup Club. So I just want to say thank you to the Vitaliano family, to Luke, for starting this journey, and it shows what can happen just with one spark when students take the lead. Now I'm going to turn it over to Luke's wonderful sister, Sienna, who has our next club. Come on. Get right to the mic, okay? Move up a little bit. Yeah, thanks.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Sienna Vitaliano, and I am excited to tell you about a club I started this year called the Tiger Club. I have always loved animals, especially tigers. I wanted to do something to help protect them. So I created the Tiger Club at Webb Elementary. Our goal was to learn more about tigers and find a way to support them. As a club, we researched ways that we could support tigers. We decided to make a donation to the World Wildlife Fund where we could adopt tigers. To do this, we needed to raise money. So we worked together to plan and run a fundraiser. With the help of our classmates and teachers, we raised $300 and adopted 5 tigers. This money will help take care of tigers in the wild by providing food, protecting their habitats, and keeping them safe from hunters. Through this experience, I learned that one idea can make a big difference. When you bring people together for a cause, you can create real change. The Tiger Club showed me that even kids can be leaders and help protect animals. I hope that more students will be inspired to start clubs, follow their passions, and make a difference in the world. Thank you.
Now I will welcome Ariana Lumpkin to talk about her project.
Hello, my name is Ariana. The group I decided to raise money for is the Red Cross Foundation. The reason why I chose this group is because while talking with Miss Jubenville, she gave me an idea. We talked about the hurricane happening, and I wanted to raise awareness and money. We raised $510.27. This money will help with food, shelter, and supplies. Me and Miss Jubenville took the time to make the flyers to put around the school. On Friday, September 27th, PJ Day came. The big part came, and at 9:30, I collected all the money from every classroom. The day I finished counting at noon. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
All right, now I will welcome Veronica and Jenna Parlante. Nice and loud, okay?
Hello and good evening, members of the Board of Education. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm Veronica, and this is my sister Jenna. We are 3rd graders from Webb, and we are excited to share how we work together to help animals in need. We wanted to do something kind for animals who needed homes. We researched ways to donate and found out the Connecticut Humane Society is right down the street from our school. We know that shelters take care of animals who don't have homes yet, and we wanted to help them get food, blankets, and medical care. To raise money, we planned Pajama and Stuffed Puppy Day. We invited our whole school to wear pajamas and bring their favorite stuffed puppy to school. In return, they donated money to help the Humane Society. We worked hard to spread the word. We made posters, talked to our classmates, and even made announcements to encourage everyone to participate. We are proud to say that we raised $361.47. That money will help real dogs get the care they need while they wait for a family to adopt them. We learned that even kids can make a difference by working together. We show kindness, leadership, and teamwork. We are proud of what we accomplished, and we hope to do more projects like this in the future. We are grateful for the support of our teachers, classmates, and families. And most of all, we are happy that we could help the animals. Thank you and have a good night.
Nice work, girls. Great work, thank you. Now I will welcome Isla Kadnak.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Isla, and I am
Teacher
excited to share how my friends and I started a special club at Webb, the Teacher Appreciation Club. When I was in 3rd grade, I thought about how much teachers do for us every day. They help us learn, take care of us, and make school a great place to be. I wanted to do something to show them how much we appreciate them. So with 5 of my friends, we created the Teacher Appreciation Club. We meet regularly to do kind things for our teachers and staff to make them feel special. Some of the things we've made include lanyards, coffee mugs, and pictures to brighten their day. We love seeing our teachers smile when they receive something thoughtful, but most of all, we love showing kindness and gratitude to the people who work so hard for us. Through this club, I've learned that small acts of kindness can make a big difference. I hope the Teacher Appreciation Club inspires other students to find ways to show gratitude in their schools too. Thank you for letting me share our story tonight, and thank you to all the amazing teachers who make school a great place to learn and grow.
All right, now I will welcome Nora Warden.
Hi, my name is Nora. I am from Webb, and my group chose to do a cleanup crew. The way this started was with one great student named Penny. She started by picking up trash on the playground. We found that everywhere we go and every turn we take, we find trash. Our goal is to get more trash thrown away and raise awareness to all students. The project we are finalizing is whatever class collects the most trash in 1 week gets a prize for the whole class. Plus, even out of school, during summer, spring, or even fall, if we see trash in our neighborhood, we pick it up. Moral of the story, we just want to make this world a better place.
And finally, I'll welcome Colin Freitas and Thiago Acuna.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Thiago Cuna.
And my name is Colin Freitas.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share how we work together to upgrade the basketball hoops at our school.
We noticed that the old hoops on our school's basketball courts were worn out and made it hard for students to fully enjoy playing. The nets were torn, the rims were bent, and the backboards were old and rusted. As basketball players ourselves, we thought that was a potential danger to our peers. We knew something had to change, not only for us, but for our whole community.
We started by brainstorming ideas and decided to take action. We first reached out to our peers and teachers to gather input on how much the community cared about upgrading the hoops. It became clear to us that this wasn't our problem, but everyone wanted better equipment.
Next, we created a plan. We researched the cost and identified the best option for our school. We reached out to the PTO, but we didn't stop there. We worked with the school's maintenance team to help install the new hoops and make sure they were set up properly. The transformation was incredible. It's been amazing to see students of all ages enjoy the courts again.
This experience taught us the power of teamwork, leadership, and community involvement. It showed us that when students make the initiative, they can truly make a difference in their school.
We hope our story inspires other students to identify the ways they can improve their schools and take action. We also wanted to thank everyone who supported our efforts, including our teachers, family, and the school staff.
Thank you for giving your time and for supporting student-led projects like ours.
We hope you visit the court soon to see our impact of an upgrade.
All right. Amazing job, Webb students. Thank you. We're so proud of you and all your work you did. And these students represent about 1/5 of all the students who were engaged in these projects. We randomly chose one student to represent each group. So they are one representative of many who do this work at Webb School and take the initiative. So thank you for hearing our stories. If there are any questions, I'll take them now.
Thank you. Anyone for questions, comments? Liz?
I'd love to make a comment. So how amazing all the work that you've done to come together, take your idea, move it forward. It's so impressive to hear you talk about the environment and animals, reaching out through, your peers, through teachers, through the maintenance crew, anyone you had to reach out to take action and get the work done. Very impressive. And also, I'll let you in on a little secret. We all get nervous before we have to speak. I was a little nervous before I started just now, but, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll just say something similar to Liz. Those were awesome projects. Those were awesome reasons to fundraise. And I'm especially proud of all of you for getting up there and speaking tonight. Like Liz says, it's not always easy. I'm stuttering myself right now as I'm trying to get this out, but you all did so well, and thank you for coming and sharing your work with us.
Yes. Anyone else? Go ahead, Janice.
I just want to say, too, you've learned a lot about how to get organized and how to bring your ideas forward, and that is something you could possibly in the future mentor other students on. That's quite something. A lot of people get good ideas, but actually speaking up about them and moving them forward and making them happen is a skill in itself that a lot of people have no idea how to do that. So that is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And congratulations to all of you who came up. And the feeling of accomplishment you're going to have after you've done these projects and you've led them, it's a wonderful feeling. So keep doing it. Nice job, Webb. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll just wait for that to go up. But next on tonight's agenda is the approval of the minutes for our regular Board of Ed meeting on January 14th, 2025. We're losing our audience. So do you think the kids are the attraction and it's not us? Okay, may I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Second.
I need someone to, you got it? You're gonna
I
do
said
the-
motion, you
Okay,
said
thank
second.
you. Marjorie, and then John is second. All right, any discussion on these minutes? Janice?
I'm so sorry. I made a couple of notes on what pages, and I left them at home. I'm sorry. But I do remember that one of them was when we talked about Carissa Peckrell, that she was from Glass and Berry instead of Glastonbury. So it was Glass and Berry, two
That was a
words.
correction, though.
So, yeah, just to change it to Glastonbury.
That wasn't on purpose.
So it's two.
No, it's one word, Glastonbury.
Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Autocorrect.
That's what it was,
Yeah, probably autocorrect.
Thank you.
And I have one change, which is just on page 2, where it's Mila, I just gave you the name, what is it again? It's the swimmer. It's changing, it's her first name's there, but not her last name. What was the name again? I just gave it to you.
Broadwitz?
Brodowitz, it's
Yes.
Brodowitz,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, anyone else? All right, so let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Those minutes are approved. Now, if there's anyone who wishes to come up to make a public comment, come on up to the podium and state your name and address, and may I remind you that you have 5 minutes. And another reminder, the board members do not comment immediately following a resident speaking at the podium, so thanks for understanding that. Hello.
Hi, my name is Sarah Ganley. I live at 16 The Cartway. Over the weekend, I sent an email to Superintendent Emmett, Assistant Superintendent Sally Distoli, Webb Principal Ken Craig, and the Board of Education members asking about plans and protocols should ICE agents attempt to enter one of our schools. I'm very appreciative of the timely responses that I received from Chairperson Bobby Hughes-Granado as well as Webb Principal Ken Craig. I'm disappointed by the lack of responses from administration. Mr. Craig was able to share with me the school protocol for handling ICE agents, but I still have several questions and concerns. In the email sent to me from Mr. Craig, he stated that ICE agents cannot enter non-public areas without a judicial warrant signed by a judge. My question is, what parts of the schools are considered public versus private? Are agents allowed to wait by the playground? Are they allowed to hang out on the sidewalks outside of the school? I would like specific answers, even though I know this isn't a back and forth. I would like specific answers as to what constitute public versus private spaces when we're talking about public schools. At Webb, people are allowed in the school lobby after ringing the doorbell. Will ICE agents be allowed inside the building at all? Are ICE agents required to disclose who they are? Are they able to circumvent this by saying something vague, like they are seeking a meeting with the principal, and then when they gain access into the school, they have that access? If they do gain access to a public space within the school, can they stay there indefinitely? What can we do? Do we call local law enforcement? We need to have answers to these questions. Mr. Craig also responded that while the office staff have simple training regarding these matters, that the principal or designee would be handling interactions with ICE agents while notifying legal counsel and the superintendent. I've been told by Mr. Craig that the school is not required to grant access to ICE if the warrant is administrative as opposed to judicial. While I believe the principals and educators of our town are wonderful and intelligent, I worry about the ability of said people to be able to decipher legal jargon while in a high-stress situation. Would it be up to the principal to determine the validity of a warrant? Would the town legal counsel be present for this? When in this process will parents be notified of ICE agents at the school? Will we receive phone calls? Is it going to be a parent square message? Will it be in real time or after the fact? To those who say this is not likely to happen in our small town, you only need to look to our neighbors in East Hartford. Fox 61 reported today that East Hartford is one of many Connecticut towns and cities that's confirmed the presence of ICE in their community. As if it's not bad enough that our children, educators, and staff must exist in a world where each day there is a potential for gun violence, the idea that agents could come and seek out our children, our neighbors, and our staff is absolutely abhorrent. I'm asking that the Board of Ed scrutinize our policy along with the legal department and have retraining for all school employees about how to handle this situation. There should be a step-by-step process easily available for our schools, as well as reassurance from the town that the employees following our protocols will be protected from legal retribution. I'm asking that the Board of Ed and the town put out a statement, as many other towns have, that ICE is not welcome here. I'm disheartened that we have not already seen a statement made by town officials and school administrators. Silence is in fact a statement, and it speaks very loudly. This is our town, our community, and we will not stand idly by while they terrorize people. The time to act is now. We cannot wait until after an incident occurs. We must be prepared. The price for failure in this instance is a human life, a potential first-grade child being led away by strangers, and we cannot fail. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Gantley.
Hi, my name is Mike Lipka. I live on 51 Orchard Hill Drive in Wethersfield, Connecticut. Last week I went to the swing school meeting, and I just want to start. I think the progress on the defining how to replace the middle school, the elementary schools, is going very well. I was very impressed with the work the consultants have done, the pros and cons of each of the sites that they want to put the swing school in, the fact that Webb's going to be a school for grades 5 and 6 throughout the town. I think there's been a lot of good work to date on this, and I think it's heading in a very positive direction. I have a couple of suggestions as you move forward. Is that there definitely needs to be a rollout plan, maybe not in the exact wording of the referendum, but somewhere you need to have a rollout plan of approximately when these schools are going to each be refurbished, so people know roughly when that's going to occur. Yeah, things could change based on when the work gets done, but having people understand that's going to be important. And I also think there needs to be organization at the appropriate time to get out the vote for a yes vote. Too often in this town, the only people that organize it are ones that don't want to do anything, don't want to spend any money. So I would expect all the Board of Education and all the town council members to be change champions, communicate this, go out as if you're campaigning for office, because this is the most important thing I think we're going to do as a town in at least the next 10 years. And also don't lose sight of small transition items for the bigger picture. I know, Liz, you made a comment in the meeting about, hey, think strategically, that's so important. There's going to be some impacts that people have to travel, traffic and stuff like that. People just got to live with that. do the best to resolve that, but the strategic long-term vision is really what's the most important. So I think your leadership is going to be critical to get to a yes vote, and also listening to some of these young students. You can get them involved in the communication plan, it should pass no problem. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? All right, Mr. Emmett, you have some communications for us?
I do. Thank you, Mrs. Granado. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the public comment. One of my items of communication is to talk about the process with ICE and exactly where we are with that. So obviously, it has been a challenging environment with which we are working currently. So again, I have obligations under law. I have obligations under law to respond to ICE. They are agents, they are federal agents. I also have an obligation to provide a public education for all students. In addition to that, I also have an obligation under FERPA to be able to protect the privacy of our students. So we have worked with our council already as this process rolled out. In addition to that, we received some guidance from the State Department of Education late this afternoon, which will be going out to parents. The process is, in the event that an ICE agent comes onto the school property, the principal and/or secretary is to notify both myself as well as our Director of Security, Mr. Michael Barabalt, retired police officer from Southington. He's sitting in the back here in the audience tonight. At that point in time, Mr. Barabalt and/or I would respond to the school directly and would address the ICE official looking for a warrant. There'd be either a judicial warrant or an administrative warrant. At that point in time, we would contact our counsel, Shipman and Goodwin, who we've already been in contact with, for further information. In terms of a non-public school, we have a policy and procedure that's in place already. A vendor, a third party, a visitor, goes through a process to get into our buildings. It is not going to be unfettered access into our classrooms. It's not going to be touring throughout the building. You have to have a specific purpose with which to come into the building. And as I reiterate, again, it is not going to be, hey, I'm looking for information on the address of this particular student. It's against the law. It's against FERPA. We have an obligation to maintain a safe and comfortable environment for all of our students. And that is something we will continue to espouse across this district. So there will be additional information forthcoming from the state. That information came forward this afternoon. I do need to be careful because it's a PDF. I need to be able to translate it. And if I put it into Parent Square as a PDF, I don't necessarily have the ability to translate it. So I may need to have somebody convert it to a Word doc. I want to make sure the message gets out to everybody. The bottom line is we look to maintain a safe, positive, comfortable learning environment for all of our families in the Wethersfield Public Schools. I'll have additional information forthcoming should an event occur. Obviously, we'll communicate that. But the reality here is we have a process in place. We certainly want to support our administrators. And again, if it comes down to having a back and forth with ICE, that's going to be your superintendent of schools and your security director that will do that work in conjunction with our council. Again, to make sure we're following the law and we're respecting the law toward all of our students and our families. A couple of other items this evening that I do want to talk about. Another piece of news that came out today was the government's decision to pause federal grants. To say that that created a bit of a challenge today was an understatement. Obviously for us, we're looking at that from a perspective of the federal lunch program. We're looking at that from title grants. My understanding at this point in time is that the lunch program and title grants are currently funded through July. And again, hopefully we'll see this freeze lifted and obviously clarified in terms of exactly what funds, what grants are being frozen. So there's a lot of confusion. I do want to make sure that you are all aware. Our current lunch program, we offer free lunch for all of our students. That will continue. All of our grant funding that we currently have in place will continue as well. So I'll have a lot more in terms of information coming out on that as things become more clear. I do expect legal challenges with regard to that and we'll see how that all plays out. A couple of other items this evening, just to let everybody know. Eldemar Salinas, our nurse supervisor, did send out a communication today. We are seeing a fair amount of illness going around schools at this point in time, both students and staff. Influenza A is the predominant factor right now in the Central Connecticut Health District. So my weekly meeting with Juan Salazar, we were clear in articulating that we need to see custodians wiping down high-touch areas, including water fountains and doorknobs. So again, if you're sick, do stay home. It's that time of year. So we're hopeful that this is the peak at this juncture, and we'll start to see the numbers go down. This evening at the board meeting, you have a wide variety of recommended motions around curriculum, as well as the future placement of a therapy dog at Webb Elementary School. When that motion comes forward, we will have a presentation and question and answer session for that. And again, I want to say a huge shout out to all of our teaching staff that did yeoman's work to put forward a tremendous number of new courses and updated courses across the district. So that's communications. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And as Mr. Emmett just said, tonight we have 30 action items, and most come from Student Program and Services after a long and productive committee meeting with Janice DeRoberts as their chair. And the committee worked to understand these new courses that are going in, which is making 21st century curriculum in our buildings. So anyway, we're going to get started, so bear with us as we go through them all. But the first one is a very creative and unusual one. We have moved that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve a commitment with Blue Path service dogs for future placement of a facility therapy dog at Webb Elementary School. So that's the motion. Do I have a second on that? Anyone?
Second.
Okay. And we have discussion. Mr. Ken Craig will be coming up.
You're all going to be tired of me. You don't see me at all,
No,
except
not
2
at
times in
all.
one night. Appreciate it. So just a quick story. Going back about two months ago, had a wonderful Webb family reach out to me, the Kuthman family. They're right over there. They're right here and right there. And they reached out to me, and they wanted to discuss the opportunity to bring therapy dogs to Webb School. At the time, I didn't know what we were going to discuss, but definitely, obviously, wanted to hear them out and hear what their perspective was. And I'll never forget that meeting. It was interesting because I went into the meeting thinking that this was a therapy dog that maybe would visit the school once a month, maybe once a week. And so we're talking about this. Jess Kuthman experienced this in her school district where she's a teacher in Berlin and was very passionate about it. And I asked the question, so how many times is this dog going to come to Webb? And she had this look on her face, like she knew she was about to blow my mind. And she said, the dog is yours every day. And I'll never quite forget that moment because it was like all of a sudden dozens of questions just flood into my mind. And I think she probably saw it. You probably saw it as well, Dave. But through that meeting, we made a commitment that no matter what, we were going to see this through. We were going to get our questions answered, and we were going to find out if this was the path forward for Webb School. And so they graciously put me in touch with administration in Berlin to talk about what it is in the day of a life of having a Blue Path dog at their elementary school, which they do. And after I left that conversation with the assistant principal, I was even more excited because I asked the question that I always ask whether I'm interviewing somebody or trying to get the most information. I said, what regrets do you have? And I asked that very purposefully because I want to hear what the regrets are. I don't want to say, do you have any regrets, right? What regrets do you have? Would you do anything differently? And she said, absolutely nothing. This has been perfect. This has been an amazing thing for our students. And it's been an amazing thing for our staff. Staff morale, she reported, was skyrocketing because of having the therapy dog in their school. And this dog has a personnel file. This dog has a yearbook photo. This dog has a mailbox. This dog is a fully vetted member of your teaching staff. And all the logistics that come with it, I think that we've fleshed them out. And we've moved quickly. And Dave has been the driving force, and the Kuthman family has been the driving force, getting on this and making sure that we follow through. And I'm happy to say that A lot of schools are signing up for this work, and we are now number 2 in line, which says a lot. It says that we've done our due diligence. We're on a really good path with Blue Path, and I think that we're in a great position to make this happen. And it is timely because litters of puppies will be born, and we are going to have to accept or not accept a new member of our staff. And we believe that we want to be ready when that time comes. So being here tonight and getting your approval obviously is the next step for us. But we are very confident that this is perfect for Webb Elementary School. This is perfect for our LEAP program. This will be an amazing thing for our students. And you know, we talk a lot about how to support students in this current age and how to do things differently, how to do things creatively. And this is a perfect example of that. So I thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to Dave Kuthman, who again is the driving force. He's the visionary behind this, and he very eloquently can tell you about where this project comes from and what the vision is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. So I'm going to try my hardest not to break down in tears, right? Because the stories I heard were just heartwarming. Let's just start with a quick story. Walter, the therapy dog we're talking about, there was a child, kindergartner, wouldn't get out of the car. Mom couldn't get the child out of the car, crying hysterically, wouldn't get that child out, nothing she could do, right? So they asked Walter to come out with the handler. Walter walks out, comes over, immediately senses that the child is upset, jumps into the car and curls up on the child, right, to calm and relax the child. The child is now calm and able to get out of the car and walk into school. I stand in front of you a product of a pretty rough childhood. And it is amazing to see Mr. Craig take some of the challenging students and do some of the most amazing things we've seen as parents, including just today, those children that stood up here as future leaders. If I could have an administrator like him when I was a kid, my life would have been totally different. I can tell you right now, giving this type of tool to Mr. Craig and his staff is absolutely critical to our community. And that is why when I heard about this, when my wife told us she had a fun day at a professional development as a teacher, that was odd, right? We don't hear that often. And when she said she got to play with dogs and talk about these great things, it was unique. But when we really thought about it, we said, why not Webb? ABA program, our preschool program. We have our ESL and we have high rates of poverty, right, and transient students. We have kids who need it. We have kids who could use it. And this dog, if the community can provide it, is not going to cost our taxpayers anything. This dog is going to be a win for everyone. So immediately, and this goes back to talk about how great Mr. Craig is, immediately talking to him and seeing his reaction, like, are you serious? Like, we're going to get a dog? Having him just be open-minded to hear us out was incredible. And then to walk through all the steps and see the excitement, not just with Mr. Craig, but also PTO. When I tell you that I walked in expecting to get a lot of pushback, I thought the parents, I spent an hour and a half with the PTO president walking through all the concerns from allergies to what if the parents object. We had everything covered and there wasn't one criticism, not one complaint. Every parent in that room were excited. They were excited because they all were touched one way or another from a therapy dog they knew. One was an OT specialist who actually worked at Gaylord Rehab Center, and they just got a therapy dog and just ranted and raved about how it changed the culture. We have an opportunity for the community to give back here. We're asking you to allow us to do that. Allow us to give Mr. Craig and his staff the ability to even have more influence over that 5-year-old who's crying, have them calm down, to have them be able to read. When no one else has the time to encourage them to speak publicly, let them talk to that dog. There's so many opportunities that this dog can bring to the community, to our kids. And if Mr. Emmett or the future superintendent needs to, they can always arrange to have that dog brought to other schools if there's some type of issue or concern. So if we do have an unfortunate event and we need a therapy dog, we can arrange for that. It will be this district's dog. So there's so many wins into this. I ask of you, I beg of you, please. If I was that 5-year-old standing in front of you today, I would want nothing more than to be able to hug that Labrador Retriever that right now is at Griswold Elementary.
We open it up to questions.
Thank you. Can we? I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, we can have just some discussion
Yeah,
here.
it's
Yeah, let's go
discussion.
ahead. Michael, you want to go first?
Yeah, if I could, can you just talk a little bit about the cost?
Yes.
Can I also add on to that question? So I do remember reading in the email that we received about this, it did say that there was a $10,000 cost that can be made up for through donations. Can be or will be. And also food and vet bills. It said that would be a burden to the district, or no?
So we're making a commitment at Webb School that we will make this work financially for our school. We can make this work. And so it is $10,000. We will make that $10,000 work for us. We will also get creative as a school and through our PTO. Many people know our Webb PTO is among the most amazing PTO around. They raise so much money because we have a very supportive parent community, and we will be able to make this work at the very least through our PTO. We hope that we have other community sponsors and other community ways to fund this, but you have my promise that we will be able to fully fund this through Webb School and through the avenues that we already have in place, and that's only through having a very supportive parent community.
Great. Janice?
If you could talk more about the allergies, because I know my kids blow up like balloons right away if they're near anything with dander or fur.
Yeah, I was able to talk to the Griswold Elementary School administration about that, and Blue Path makes this incredibly easy because that's a common question that comes up, and there is an opt-out form for students who are severely allergic to the dog, and the dog would not come into the room with those students. So on the dog's schedule, we would make arrangements so that the dog does not come in contact with the students who have signed, or their families have signed that opt-out form. So it's already there for us. We wouldn't have to recreate that. It's already there for us to give out to those families and to make available.
Also, can I ask one more?
Sure.
Dog phobia. Children who are just freak out if they're near a dog or if a dog comes close to them. The story of the little girl in the car, I, as a child, would have freaked out if a dog got in the car with me. So if you could talk about that.
Yeah, I would add that on the list of the same opt-out form, so it would be for the reason of allergy or for other reasons. My guess and what I've noticed throughout my time as an educator is that in many cases would be temporary once they've been exposed to the dog and see that the dog is very friendly. The dog is specially trained. The paws do not leave the ground. There's a number of protocols that they put into place to make this a dog that's specially trained, especially to work with children with autism. And so the way that the dog interacts with children is much, much different than what you see from a dog who might jump up on you when you come into the house and things like that. This is not that kind of a dog. It's very specially trained. So I believe that many of the dog phobias that we might encounter would be somewhat temporary. But in the event they're not, the opt-out form would also cover that. And let me just add also, I apologize, that the dog is not going into communal areas of the school for that reason. So it would not come into the auditorium when you have a whole school assembly, into the cafeteria, for the same reason of being mindful of any opt-outs that you would have.
Okay, anyone else? Jim?
What type of training do they go through, and how long is it? I mean, I'm only asking, I have 2 dogs who certainly would not be fit for anything close to this.
Do you want to answer that, Dave?
Yeah, and I apologize. So we've been working very closely with Blue Path. Actually, just to let you know, Blue Path loves Webb. They think we fit their model perfectly. Blue Path is an offshoot of another organization. It was started by a veterinarian and a special education teacher, and their whole purpose is to put service dogs with autistic children to enable some kind of peace, if you will, for the parents, to give them the ability to kind of let their guard down. The dogs are actually trained to bark or to allow them to know if there's escapism happening. So what we have, they're pending approval with the Service Dog Accreditation Board. They've placed 55 dogs so far, and what they do is they take their puppies, which are specially bred service dogs. They're not the typical golden retrievers and labs that I have and we all would have. They're extremely bred for specific characteristics, including they are designed basically to ignore everything. Right, so they don't pay attention to distractions around them. And then they're actually transferred from family to family on purpose. That's one of the questions that comes up, is what happens when a staff member has to leave. Because of their training, going from family to family, it has no impact to the dog when they're transferred from one staff member to another. It is actually detrimental to the staff member, not to the dog. So they go through a series of training where they're just acclimated to all different environments, right, just from that perspective. And then they they actually begin the actual training on whether or not to become a service dog. If they fail, and the only reason they fail is that they're too social. So if they become too social, then they call it a career choice, and they change it to a facility dog, and then they offer it to schools so that they can be social with many kids instead of just one. So that's how they do that. So actually, they'll go through the full training as a service dog, and then by the end, they'll be rejected for placement with one child and chosen to be placed with a facility like a hospital or school.
That's great.
Thank you.
John?
Who takes care of the dog after hours?
So there is a caregiver who volunteers, and we do have some tentative volunteers already. It becomes their family dog as long as they're working in our school. And there's also, in Berlin, they had 8 handlers as well during the day. So the dog would not only be with the caretaker, it would also be with the 8 handlers. And from what I'm told, the dog is specially trained to only follow the directions of the handlers, so that you don't have to worry about other children coming and giving commands to the dog. But we would work a schedule out where we would specifically and strategically have our service dog, our therapy dog, in the spots of the school where we need them, and with the handlers who are trained to work with them. Yeah, good question.
I have some questions. I work at Manchester Community College, so we often get therapy dogs in there during finals or midterms, so I'm very used to that. And it is, it's really quite touching, and it does really bring kind of the stress down for a lot of people who go over to the dogs. But I am concerned about having a dog all the time at a school. And can you walk me through the Berlin example of, or what would be the dog at the school? What's their day-to-day? What's the life of a dog at Webb?
Life of Walter.
Day in the life.
Day in the life, that's what I meant to say.
So speaking to the assistant principal at Griswold Elementary School, that dog primarily does stay with her throughout the day in the office area, which is beneficial because that's where a lot of your students come through traffic-wise that could use extra support. But as I said, I would have the office be one of the hubs of this dog. However, I would strategically choose the handlers to place them in LEAP classrooms. I think that there would be a great benefit to having a lot of their time spent in our LEAP department. So I think to answer your question, it would be different based on the needs of the school. Based on the needs of Webb School, I think we would strategically place those dog services in the LEAP program for the majority of the day.
Also, when you say, like, when you're picking out handlers, is there a training for handlers? If we had like 7 people at Webb say, I want to be a handler, I want to be a handler, is there a training and is there a cost to that?
Do you train them? Do you know more about what that training entails? Or?
There's several different trainings. So the main training will have the primary handler, who the dog will stay with, and a few of the handlers will go away for a day, and they get trained with the dog and come back. They're within 2-hour driving distance of any school they work with, so they're always available to come out and assist as well for the life of the dog. So they'll always be available to come and actually provide additional training and assistance to us if we need that. But to answer that question, yes, they do go through rigorous training with Blue Path to be able to be sure that they actually know how to handle. Because remember, this dog is specifically trained, so if they get confusing instructions, it's actually not that great for the dog. So they have to know exactly what to do and how to handle that situation.
Right. And so is there a cost associated with it, but with the training?
The cost for what we will
Does it
pay,
come
the
with the
$10,000, is
Okay.
to offset the cost. The puppies are very, very expensive. They're specially bred for service dogs, so we're offsetting the cost. The children who are selected to receive the service dogs pay no money, but for facility dogs, we pay for the cost of the dog, basically.
And that includes the training, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
the training they give free for everyone.
I also have a question about insurance for the school, and I didn't know if that was affected. I don't know if this is a question for Mike Emmett, if there's like an umbrella policy, if having a dog stay at the school every day, if that's an issue, or if that's an extra expense as well.
Yeah, that'd be something that we would look through Karma. Again, I know Berlin has a dog. I know Glastonbury was another district that has a dog that moves through all of its buildings, its elementary schools. So something we would certainly look at. We've had other dogs in before on a like a day-by-day basis. I know in meeting with both high school and middle school students, we talked about our Hartford Foundation for Public Giving grant, which we just got. I heard from both high school as well as middle school students that therapy dogs were something they were really interested in to reduce stress. Again, just the personal experience. I'm a proud grandfather of a dog, and he visited last week and actually went to the Stillman building and dealt with the adults. He went in by invitation. He was requested. It was astounding to observe the behavior of the adults. Every department I went into, I had at least one staff member that got down on the floor to pet the dog, to talk with the dog. It's from a therapeutic perspective, it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. Again, I like, Ken, what you said, talking about the offset with regard to the cost. That's another key piece, and I know we have a strong PTO over at Webb that's willing to support as well. I'd love to see down the road that this is the seed and we're able to expand this to some of our other specialized programs across the district. So I'll definitely follow up with Karma. I know that there is insurance involved, and we'll definitely follow up on that piece.
I have one more question. You're saying that Webb will take care of all the cost of this, but it says in the write-up that we got that the district will be responsible for vet bills and food. And I know as a dog owner myself that can be quite expensive. And I think like, I love all this information. I think it's a great idea, but I also have not heard this information up until now. So there's a lot of details that I think we need to think more through if we could, or get more information or ask more questions. But as far as a breakdown of costs, like if there was a cost for vet bills or food, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer about this, but I just think that there's a lot more that we would like to know, or I would like to know, compared to what I got, just the write-up I got today on this. So.
Understood.
Yeah.
Again, so we're going by what the actual organization is telling us. They estimate 1,500. I think that is a little low, to be completely honest, as a dog owner. But also, we haven't even explored whether local veterinarians and groomers will donate some of their services. So there's always that opportunity as well. But do understand, though, the Webb PTO has discussed about, if we need to, if it has to be, we would consider making it a line item in the budget going forward. This is something we all feel very strongly about, simply because, I mean, I'm not sure if you had any trouble acclimating as a kindergartner. I did, right? And it was the most horrible time of my life, right? And knowing that there would be a dog there for these kindergartners, I think is what would make us move those mountains.
Yeah, so, I don't dispute any of that. I'm just asking because on the write-up, it literally says, Webb will pay for this much, the district responsible for this much. So I think it's important for us to understand if we need a line item or a estimated cost going forward, just to know what the responsibility is.
1,500 is what they estimate. The 10,000 would be the Webb PTO or whatever. We have to buy the dog as a gift. It's better that way. We would donate the dog as a gift to the school district. So then it would be the yearly cost of about 1,500, they say. That would be something then that we would work with Mr. Craig, see how we could do that from the PTO perspective or any other fund.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about my dog and I'm like, 1,500 actually sounds like a lot to me, but I guess if you add up all the food, but just even a vet bill, like even if it was just a physical, they do kind of, once a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's, yeah.
And to put it into perspective with how supportive our PTO is, let's just say it's $2,000 a year. That would be our book fair. That's how much money we make at our book fair. So just to say, like, if we had to swing it as a line item, we know that we have the fundraising capabilities to do that. And I think we could make it happen.
Liz?
I echo a lot of Marjorie's sentiments, and I think that these questions are great because it'll help us, come from the perspective of, let's make this work, let's get all the details ironed out so that we can, A couple of the thoughts that I had too, I can attest, Webb PTO is a phenomenal organization. They are a powerhouse, fundraising, support, working together. I believe at the last PTO meeting, they may or may not have been looking for things to spend their money on. We'll just leave it at that. So, very successful PTO for sure. Yes. And so I appreciate the cost, the conversations about the dog, and the possible umbrella policy. I think that would be something to look at. And then also with the training that would be done, so the handlers would be teachers or staff members of Webb. The full day training, would the teachers get paid for that? Would that be considered professional development? Like how would that, or just, maybe not have the answer now, but something that we should consider, especially it's timely because we're going into budget season, right? The other thought that I had was, I'm a little familiar with ABA therapy. My daughter is doing that. I'm sure she would love to have a dog where she works. But I wondered, is a therapy dog part of an ABA therapy already, or would it have to be created? Like how would we roll that in?
It's not part of, but Mrs. Freitas was on board.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a part of an existing ABA therapy.
Okay.
It would be integrated into the program.
It
But
would.
it is not currently an ABA strategy or therapy.
Okay. Would that be something that would have to be developed and then come in front of the Student Programs and Services Committee? Is that how we would handle something like that, or no?
No, that would be specialized.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, Liz, to your point with regard to the professional development, my feeling would be if the dog was approved and the dog came into the school, I'd look at, during our PD time, which is embedded within our calendar, we'd have folks from Blue Path to come in and provide training for everybody.
Okay.
Because again, as I heard the gentleman talk about, the dog is very specifically trained. I don't want to go in and do anything that is going to, move the dog away from doing what he or she needs to do.
Sure.
So I would see it being a school-wide training. And again, we have a lot of flexibility with our professional development calendar. So if it's something specific for the handlers, when we have the early release days, if we get somebody from Blue Path to come in. And just to build on your question too, Liz, it also jogged my memory. You mentioned that there is the puppies are going to be born. How long does it take? Is this something that's going to happen in September, or do we just need a commitment so that we stay on the list? This may not happen until the following year. What's the thinking?
I'm being honest, I didn't expect to be here tonight, right? This is literally something they said, wait a couple of years to happen. This is happening really fast, but we still have to wait for the litters. They do have graduations every 6 months, but we have to wait for a dog to fail from being a service dog. And then it's not chronological, they will actually fit the school with the dog. So we may not get selected for the next couple of rounds because the dog isn't the right fit for Webb. So we may get a call in 3 months, we might get a call in 18 months.
Okay.
It would just be, your approval means that they've already approved us. We're approved by a Blue Path. It would just be, we're waiting for you, and then the phone call.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to finish up here on this motion. The fact that, thank you for bringing this forward. I am a serious animal lover. I mean, I just enjoyed them, and I had a classroom where you had to watch a child read to a hermit crab and get tremendous joy out of it to realize that kids and animals connect. They find a non-threatening creature in front of them. So therefore, they know nobody's going to say, did you say that OI correctly? No, nobody's going to say it. And the same with any other creature that's there. And they're very responsible, which I know all our children need to learn to be responsible and take care of things, and nothing better than an animal. So I'm a big proponent of this, but I was thrilled with all the questions that were asked tonight because I think they need to be resolved in our heads before we can move on with this. But I have to tell you, the unique ideas that are starting to come out of people to help our students who are in a crisis. We are having, and we're talking about hands-on for everybody. Well, maybe we need pause-on too. And so I think, and Matt's going to make a motion here, that we do want to further this and look into it more, but we're going to table it, I believe, for tonight.
Yep.
Okay, so he's going to make a motion, if it's okay with everyone right now?
Yes.
Okay.
May I ask one more question before we go and do that? Is that okay? To ask one more question?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yes.
When we're looking at this, I wondered if Blue Path had any thoughts on the building project that we have going on, knowing that within X number of months and years, that Webb, that the dog may be moving from school to school. So just some research on that to see what they would recommend.
So we will definitely bring it up. I did bring that up. We had to do an interview and a few rounds. I did bring that up. They're not concerned because actually part of their training is to bring the dog to multiple schools. So the dog they really do try to make the dog completely agnostic to any of the environment around them. But
Thank
we
you.
will bring that up again.
Thank you. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so before I make my motion, I just want to thank you both for coming up here.
Yeah, this was
and,
wonderful.
Yeah, providing all of the answers and the insight and the context behind the current motion. I can't remember the last time we asked so many questions of somebody that was up at the podium. So we are all curious. And keep in mind that this is not a no, it's not a yes for the moment. Could become a yes, but this is something, like others have said, we want to discuss and pursue more in depth, maybe get some more answers on certain things. That being said, I move to table the current motion of the approval of the future placement of a therapy dog through Blue Path Service Dogs at Webb Elementary School until the next Board of Ed meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstentions? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. And we will let you know
Yes.
how this is all moving for our next meeting. Thank you very much. Wow. Okay, I know. All right, well, we're going to continue with all these motions, so hang in there. We'll start out with, and we're doing them not in a consent agenda, we're doing them in groups of one at a time, but each person has like 4 or 5. So Liz, you'll get started with us for us. Thank you.
And may I ask a clarifying question? B1 is water safety, is that?
Yep, you're
or
actually
one is-
on B.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, okay. I move the Wethersfield Board of Education to approve the WHS course proposal for water safety.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, we'll move on to a,
I just have a quick, I know, more questions. I don't know if Sally would be here to answer this, or somebody. Sorry. I just want to know, because it's changing freshman swimming aquatics, right, to more of a water safety model. Is that going to just, and I don't have a strong opinion either way, but is that going to is it going to be not swimming? Is it more about swim safety, or is it going to be more just a mixture of both?
Is there anybody at the committee meeting that night that has the answer for me? I think, let me get the answer to you, because we do have a lifeguard course that is, students sign up for that, and then it says pool. It replaces what we're doing now. It's not like a slight change in curriculum, but we do have offering both a lifeguarding course we passed last year, and then the pool.
Right. Well, I just know that like freshmen just do aquatics, which is just, sometimes kids are literally learning to swim and some kids are just swimming. It's just swimming. It's swimming for but this sounds like it's swimming and water safety, or just water safety. And that was just my one question.
I think it reflects what they're teaching more accurately now than kind of pool has been in the past.
More modernized version.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds good. Sounds good.
They're excited about the changes.
You have a comment?
No, I'm going to wait until we get through the athletic.
Okay, all right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so we'll go and take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Liz?
Sure. I recommend that the Wethersfield Board of Education approves the WHS course proposal for fitness foundations.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Not yet.
Anyone? Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That motion passes. And Liz?
I recommend that the Wethersfield Board of Education approves the WHS course proposal for racket sports.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? All set? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And Liz?
I forgot to speak aye.
What's that?
At my own motion, I agreed.
You're up to number 4, 4B.
Yes. I recommend the Wethersfield Board of Education approve the WHS course proposal for team sports.
Second.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion is approved. And now we go on to Matt Lacavoli. Would you do number 5 there, B5?
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course proposal, lifelong activities and fitness.
A second? Good.
Second.
Discussions?
I just have something quick to say in discussion.
Sure.
So the ones that I'm reading off, it's very ironic because, as I mentioned to you earlier, Bobby, I was going through the school climate survey.
Yes.
And I was going over the written responses, the comments from the middle school parents and the high school parents. And at both schools, they were requesting more types of curriculum that had to do with things like real life, how to live, how to balance a checkbook, how to be healthy, things like that. So I'm glad to see that we're incorporating some of those thoughts into this curriculum.
Right.
Also, just as far as these first courses that we've mentioned, the teachers who presented were Connor Stanley, Rich Scapetto, and also our assistant principal and athletic director, Mike Maltese. They had surveyed the students after looking at new standards that they have for phys ed and for health, and made these choices based on that. The water safety, they thought doing that for the freshmen, 0.25 of a credit, would be a good introduction to how they're going to handle being in the pool for the next 4 years. The fitness foundations, grade 10, they introduce to the 10th graders all the different electives that they will have as 11th and 12th graders. And then the racket sports have all the racket sports that you can imagine, the team sports, and then lifelong activity and fitness has things like yoga in that. So they, then after, well, we'll be talking about that afterward, but anyway, there's quite a variety of courses based on student interest and fitness levels.
Thank you. Okay, Matt? Oh, did we finish?
We'll vote on it.
Yeah, okay, so we had a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Next one, Matt.
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course proposal, Foundations of Well-Being.
Okay.
Second.
Do we have a second? You have a
Second.
second? Okay, thank you. Discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Continue, Matt.
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course proposal, Life Skills for a Healthy Future.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And Matt, you have one more here. Yep.
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course proposal, Balanced Living.
Second.
Second, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And we move along to Marjorie. Would you read the next one?
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course proposal, Health for Life.
Okay, second.
Second.
Discussions?
Yes. These courses, Foundation of Wellbeing, Life Skills for a Healthy Future, Balanced Living, and Health for Life, these are proposals for new health courses. These would be offered on an alternating basis, and students would take all 4 over their 4 years.
Oh, good. Okay. So we had a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion is approved. The next one, Marjorie?
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course proposal for Integrated Arts.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor. Got through that fast. Discussion?
Yes, I think this warrants a little more fleshing out. This is a course that brings together students with disabilities with peer mentors for learning opportunities in art, music, and PE. Peer mentors would be trained and supported to design and participate in personalized learning activities with their peer partners. This course offers an opportunity for diverse students to learn from each other and build meaningful connections. For peer mentors, the course also builds career skills in human services fields.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Continue, Marjorie.
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course modification from Costume and Design to Fashion Design 2.
Okay, so we have a second there?
Second.
Okay, discussions? And this is a change too, right? Yeah, modification. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And last one, Marjorie.
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course modification from CCSU EC EDT 120, a design and technology experience, to CCSU CE EDT 102, design and production of effective instructional materials.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to mention that this is an education course. It's a revised course that engages students with diverse education technologies to produce instructional materials for all grade levels using essential design principles, though you don't need to be a future teacher to take the course.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion's approved. So John, we go on to you.
The Wethersfield Board of Education to approve Wethersfield High School course proposal CCSU CETH 110, Introduction to Theater.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Just to mention that it's aligned with our current high school elective, but it gives the students an opportunity to earn college credit.
Wonderful. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion's approved. John?
Approval of Wethersfield High School course proposal CCSU CE FIN 210, Personal Finance.
All right. Second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
Yes, we already have an unleveled course. It is a requirement that students study finance starting in 2027, but this gives, again, students an opportunity to take a highly rigorous college option, get college credits for it.
Janice, I have a question. Do you have to take personal finance before you take this one, or you can just take?
Oh, either one.
Okay.
Either one is fine if you want the college, if you just want to take it.
And it meets the requirement?
It
both of
meets
them?
the requirement, yep.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion's passed. Last one, John.
Move to approve of Wethersfield High School course modification from AP Literature Composition to UConn ECE ENG 1007, Seminar and Studio in Academic Writing and Multi-Model Composition Literature.
Second.
Second.
Okay, second. All in, discussion? We're going to get tongue-tied pretty soon. Any discussion? No?
No, it's
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? You do have one more, John.
I do, I was going to say. Move to approve Wethersfield High School course modification from Introduction to Computer Science to Video Game Development.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Discussion?
This is just in addition to our existing computer science class to raise interest among students and make it more relevant, but they have the same rigorous computer science skills.
I think this is a great addition, honestly, because it does,
It could be a career path.
it could
Yeah.
be, and it involves a lot of different things, and it just will attract a lot of students, I think. Yeah.
So,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And Janice, you're all on for the next five.
I forgot how to say this. I propose that we approve the AP United States Government and Politics.
Okay,
move-
second? Discussion?
Yes. This adds an AP U.S. Government and Politics offering. It's rigorous and relevant and builds foundational knowledge of government structures and political processes and can fulfill the civics graduation requirement. Okay, I move to, sorry.
You already did it, okay.
All in favor?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We're really going to lose it. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion is passed. Continue, Janice.
I move to approve the Sports in American History and Culture.
Okay, second?
Second.
Discussions?
I do know this got the most conversation the other night.
This is going to be a wonderful course, a half a year course, or semester course. It's a proposal that examines U.S. history from the late 19th century to the present through the lens of sports. And if you think about it, you wouldn't have to even read the description to understand that it would, by necessity, take in so much of our United States development from that time on.
Okay, second on that? We have second discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Continue, Jan?
I move to delete U.S. History level honors.
Okay, a second?
Second.
And you have a discussion on that?
The reason
Yes.
for deleting the honors level of the U.S. History course is our current AP course serves as the advanced course option, so they may as well take AP.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Go ahead.
I'm done.
No, I think you had two more. Aren't you? Do you have two more?
Oh, okay, well, I'll do two more. I only had
I'll tell you when you're done. No.
I move to approve the Wethersfield High School course, Advanced Mathematical Decision-Making.
Okay.
Second.
Good. Discussion?
This is an option for after Algebra 2 rather than pre-calculus. It involves statistics, quantitative reasoning, modeling, and financial applications to solve authentic real-world problems in real-world situations.
Excellent. Great. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And now your last one.
Okay. I move to approve the Wethersfield course, Spanish for Native Speakers.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
This is a one-year course offered to native speakers who may not be fully ready for a rigorous Spanish 4 or AP Spanish course. They're trying to keep Spanish speakers, native speakers, in the world language program for as long as possible. And it also serves their needs with writing and grammar and reading.
Right. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion is approved. And Jim, I think you get to finish us off tonight, right?
How exciting. I move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve WHS course proposal Yukon ECE Music 1003, Popular Music and Diversity in American Society.
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
I think the title is pretty
That's a long one, okay.
explanatory.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion's approved. Jim?
Move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve WHS course modification from honors band to symphonic band.
Okay, that kind of says it right there. A second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, I think it's
Name change.
explanatory. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? That motion is approved. Continue.
Move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve WHS course modification, Nutrition and Food
Technology
to
3?
Technology 3.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Just a change in prerequisites. In the past, students have needed to take nutrition and food technology 1 and 2, but now they can take either or.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Keep going.
Move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve WHS curriculum, Nutrition and Food Technology 1.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Continue.
Move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve WHS curriculum, 3D design.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. We're down to 3 more.
Move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve WHS curriculum, digital imaging.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion is approved. Okay?
We're getting there. Move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve SDMS curriculum, Science 7.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay. Discussions?
We were also pretty excited about this course. It involves life science, physical science, and earth science, and with a strong emphasis of hands-on inquiry as well as labs. So I think the students will enjoy it.
Great. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And Jim, our last one.
Move that the Wethersfield Board of Education approve SDMS Curriculum Social Studies 7.
Second.
Okay, discussions?
Yes, the state recently approved updated social studies standards, and this reflects that. In 7th grade, they have a shift from the previous frameworks to a new emphasis on economics, government, and politics to a much greater extent.
Thank you. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion is approved. And I want to thank all of you. That was a lot of work. Thank you very much. And everybody else out there who worked on all this, thank you. Okay. So we'll move on to our guest speaker for the evening. John, would you introduce our speaker?
Yeah, I think our guest speaker has been waiting longer, so should we take a recess? Or? So we've been talking a lot here at the board and elsewhere about communication about our elementary school project. So nothing's more important to us than making sure the correct information gets out to the public so we can get ahead of any misinformation out there. We want to make sure that we're understanding where the plan lies and where it is going. I think you heard in the public comments today, I will also echo that working as the liaison to the building committee and working with them, that TSKP and Downs Construction along with our building committee are doing a great job, and we're seeing a lot of great progress. So here to present that is none other than Russ Moran, who I think is on the wall there somewhere, so he's familiar with being up here. He will give us an update on where things stand from a project standpoint. Go ahead, Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. Chairwoman Granato, Vice Chair Lacavoli, esteemed board members, superintendent, the large and resounding audience. It's great to be in front of you today. You know, it's you all know kind of what's going on. You've been involved, but I want to give you a little update just in case you forgot. And then we have some exciting steps coming up that I'm happy to be able to share with you tonight. You know, one of the things we've always heard since we've been put into place was that we need to speak to the community. We need to be open. We need to make sure that people have their voices heard. And hearing your public speaker, the gentleman that came up and spoke, I was so excited to hear what he was saying, because the things he was saying are things we're going to do and that we need to do. So again, the more we talk with the public, the more we talk with you, I think the better off this project's going to be. We've gone through all of the first steps, right? We've had our public sessional meetings. We met with PTOs and Chamber of Commerce and Public Safety and school administrators and different educators to kind of get us to where we want to be, which brought us to the recommendation that you're all aware of, that I spoke of last time, which would be 4K through 4s with Webb turning into a 5-6. Very exciting stuff. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. We're at the point now where was it Thursday night I was kind of under the weather. We had a public discussion about swing space and where could we put a swing school. And as we know, there's 3 locations in town that could physically fit that. So you know, we will be having, I just ordered a special meeting of the building committee for Monday evening at 6 p.m. Downstairs, where our consultant is going to give a recommendation to the building committee on location, where they recommend we put the swing school, and give us a little more guidance and input that we can discuss as to what's going to be the next steps in a referendum process. Now, we're talking about 2 referendums separately, but this is going to get us to a first step where the public will actually get a chance to see what our ideas are of what's going to be in that first question, and how's it going to go down, and how is the community going to be impacted, right? Because in a perfect world, we could just snap our fingers and everyone would go where they need to be and there'd be no inconvenience. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. But we're going to try to make it as open and as pain-free as possible, understanding that short-term families may have, to bring their child, or they may have to ride a bus somewhere further. But the end result is, whether your school is rehabilitated as new or knocked down and built as brand new, your children will be going into schools that are state-of-the-art, that have great heating and ventilation systems, that they're safe, they're breathing good air, that there's going to be, Mr. Barabal has been instrumental in helping us to make sure that people have not just free reign to get into our schools, that every elementary school is going to have, for lack of better terms, a vestibule where there's going to be a way to keep people out until it's time for them to get in. Nobody wants to ever talk about that, right? Because it's hard to talk about vulnerability of our buildings. Nobody wants to talk about that, but we need to talk about it, and we are going to keep talking about it to let the parents and families know that is also, yes, we want to make sure we have the latest in technology. We want to make sure that the classrooms are as modern as can be, that media center is what your kids deserve to be learning in. We also want to make sure that they're safe. And that has something to do as well when we look at layouts of schools, layouts of swing schools. What is the best way so there's no hiding spaces? Our schools were built 60, 70 years ago, and the surrounding areas, whether Charles or honestly any of them, there's all kinds of places for people that we don't want to be around, could be around. But now we're going to be looking at upgrading the security for those schools. It's a very exciting time. We fully need to partner with all of you. I want to come, once we have our recommendations, I want to come back with the consultant to a Board of Education meeting sooner than later to share with you what the vision is, what the plan's going to be, so you can say, jump on board. You have a great liaison. John comes to our meetings. I would encourage you, many of you know me, you want to talk to me, that's great, but if you want to you go to John, he's at every meeting, he's got it. And there's constant communication going back and forth, because I don't want him to be surprised by things that are coming up, and he does the same for me. So we can try to keep that line of communication open for all of you, so that you can help us be successful. And that's really all we're looking for at this point. We want to make sure that we come up with a process. I know it's not, listen, whenever you're going to do something, whether we're picking a swing space or picking a concept for 5, 6, there's going to be some people that don't think it's the best thing. We get it. Mm-hmm. But we have to come up with what we think is the best for the greatest amount of folks, and that's what we're doing. I love I love seeing these Webb students today. I'm at Webb usually 4 afternoons a week. Mr. Craig usually ushers me off the property until my grandkids are ready, but we're there. I spend a lot of time there. I go to Highcrest to drop off one of my grandsons, and the energy that's in these schools is wonderful. The staff that you have there, they're wonderful. And now we need to support them with an infrastructure that's equally as wonderful. So I don't think there's a whole lot more, but there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up, and I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have. Honestly, Madam Chair, I was hoping you'd have 20 or 30 more motions.
I know. You think so? I can't find them.
It made me realize 30 years ago why I went from the board to the council, but no. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
But I would just like to say thank you for being here, first of all. And you have kept us updated, and so hasn't John. You've been wonderful about all this, and we've been going to the meetings. We're making sure we understand everything that's going on, and we're ready to make decisions here, too. And I can't thank you enough for getting as much information to us and to the town as possible. So thank you.
We need to do more.
This is Herculean at this point, right? This is a lot. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Marjorie?
I'll just have a comment more that I went to the last meeting where TSKP did this, their presentation about the options for a swing school. And I was really pleasantly surprised by the amount of people that came to the meeting, and they were from all walks of life, all ages, diverse, and had really good questions, really good points. And just to have that openness and that transparency, I really liked just to be able to hear people's points, because there's things I hadn't heard, and I was like, oh, that's a good question, or that's a good point. And I think it will help, the building committee will help the Board of Ed moving forward. And I also just want to, I just hope the public has to be patient about this. I mean, there's this like two things happening at once. The impatience of parents or people who are going to be parents soon. We just need to get these schools done because they're old and they need a lot of work, and there's leaking and there's this and that, and there's that impatience. And then there's we want to get it done right away. And then there's the tension of people who may not like where they choose to put the swing school, or they may not realize like, oh, if that's it, there might be traffic, or if my kid has to be bused for a year to another location. I just really request people to be patient with the process, because this is the way it happens. This is the way every town ends up having to do it when they do a project like this, and that it's just about investing in the town, and everything's just going to be temporary. Like this is what has to happen for this point. If this all goes to plan eventually, whatever is voted on. There's a process. There's a lot of logistics. There's people we have hired that are like experts at the logistics, and they're going to try to explain it to us, and we just got to get through it together. And at the end of the day, at the end of the whatever many years, we're going to have a really great set of new schools, or newish. And like other towns are doing this. I also want to say one more point.
That's good.
That people focus, it's just Wethersfield and we don't take care of our schools. We have taken care of our schools. Our schools are just really old, and they need updating or they need replacement. And there's towns all around us. They all have built their schools at the same time, 50s and 60s. And Manchester's in 2 phases of getting elementary schools. Cheshire's getting 2 elementary schools. Plainville's doing it. Newington's getting an elementary school. Like everywhere around us, Hartford is having a big project with elementary schools. We're all in the same boat, and we're not, no one's at fault for needing new elementary schools or needing to have a plan for getting elementary schools updated. And so I just ask that the people understand like the context of that, and that we're trying our best here. So thank you for all your work.
Well, it's my pleasure. But Marjorie, you're spot on. And it's going to be, once we're to the point where we come back to you, that's where we really can delve into a lot of those concerns that people have or questions. Right now, everything's conceptual, right? I can let you know what we think, but once we really have this plan, we can spell it out. And these consultants are terrific. They're going to be able to tell you it's going to be 6 months for this, 9 months for this. This is how it's going to go. This is how we're going to funnel kids from here to there. When we get to that point, which will be relatively soon, I think that will help alleviate some of those concerns and give at least people the answers they want. Because right now, we're kind of in the abyss until we get to that. But thank you. That's a great comment.
Liz?
Thank you. When I think about the parents and anyone, who are asking questions and getting involved, I see what I perceive to be is just a lot of passion around what will impact their kids and what will impact, other kids. I think that everyone has, all of our stakeholders, which is the town, everyone has a particular interest, and I do see a lot of passion in that. I also think that if you're not involved in town government, I do believe it is difficult to keep up with all of the decisions, what's on the table, what's happening, who are the conversations. It can be a full-time job if you're not plugged into a group, whether through social media, just friends, group chats, if you're not used to going into the town website. And so I think that we're hearing a lot of strong, I'll call it like impassioned conversation, because they might feel like, this is my shot. Okay, they have a public meeting on Thursday, January 23rd. I'm going to go because I want to be there. And I do think, that will definitely help us inform as we go forward. A couple thoughts on the swing school, and I do have some questions. When you talked about the security and the vulnerability, that it's certainly top of mind. I do look at that Hamner conceptual plan. It does concern me where the play area is set, even in the swing school, for 2 main reasons. One, just anything so close to the road, it just, I don't know. I just have concerns. There's a lot of little kids to watch during, playtime, and we don't have a ton of teachers and helpers out there for that. And being so close to Garden Street is certainly not the Silas Deane Highway by any stretch, but it's very close to the road. So that concerns me. The second thing that concerns me about where that play area is that if Hamner is the swing location, then the kids coming from, I forgot what we're calling it, I'll call it Current Hamner and Swing Hamner, they would be playing in the same area. And there's going to be construction, while that's being built, whether it's Current Hamner, kids kind of coming over. I'm concerned about all the activity for construction of a school when Current Hamner is, kind of crossing that road. How are they going to bring in all the different trucks and materials? And I know, we put up enormous barriers between the two, but it does just make me a little concerned, having that play area right there. Just a thought to share on that. The second thing is, I do really feel that our town would benefit from what I'll call a rollout plan, or just like a what can you expect? And I definitely think that the timeline piece of it, the timing, people are, certainly interested in. But if I'm a parent in Wethersfield, I want to know, when is my school moving? Who will that be impacting? So I can plan ahead for it is one reason. I know we talked about traffic patterns, and, it is an investment for a short period of time of, a major inconvenience for some parents, and I had mentioned in the meeting on Thursday that it's up to the parents to decide if they want to take the bus or if they want to drive, and that's just the way it is. But I do think it would be prudent to share with parents ahead of time what that schedule is, so that if they know starting next year, or not next year, but the year after, they need to have support in place if they want to continue driving or if they're going to be looking at busing. I do think it's important to get that out ahead of time. And then the last question I have for you, Russ, is I am unclear. Who will be voting on which swing school? Like, what will be the swing? I'll call it the swing location. Who will be voting on that? What's the process?
So we'll start there, and then we'll work our way back.
Okay.
Excuse me, they'll give us a recommendation. The building committee will then vote on what we see as the best way to move forward, and then we will bring it to the elected bodies for your subsequent approval and blessings.
So does it go to the Board of Ed first?
Yeah, we'll go to
and
the Board of
town
Ed.
council?
We'll come to the
Okay.
board, and then we'll go to the council.
Okay.
And then that's how that's going to work.
Okay. So the Board of Ed definitely does not have the final say in.
I'm not going to get in the middle of that. I will. We can certainly check. I believe the council, because we are a building committee of the council. I believe we go to them last.
That's my
But
understanding.
I'll be happy to dig through that. Listen, we want you all to just say, "Wow, brilliant minds. Let's move forward." And
Sure.
But no, we want you to be, listen, we want you to be partners in this and be comfortable with the decision. So we'll talk about that. I'm sure Mr. Emmett and the town manager can kind of get through that, so you all have a better understanding. Cart's a little bit before the horse, but not that much.
I understand.
So fair enough. Fair question.
And when do you think the vote, or, the motion to approve the swing location?
Well, we'll be getting our recommendations Monday.
Okay.
Depending on the will of the committee. You all know the players on that committee. It's just an outstanding group, and if they're ready to make a decision after discussing on Monday, we'll make a decision. If people say we need a little more time, we'll take a little more time. If I have to call another meeting, we'll call another meeting. It's we all love getting together, so it's good to do that. I try to be sensitive to the not saying, okay, you heard what he had to say, give me your answer. So we try to be respectful to our community members so they can digest all the information and then go. So
Sure.
it might be a few days after that, but we're going to try to get it to you. Honestly, we want to get this ready for a June referendum, roughly.
Okay.
And there's a whole lot of stuff that has to happen. This is the easy work that I'm doing now, but having the superintendent sit down and do ed specs and all the work that all the pros have to do is not for the faint-hearted. So so I'm going to be pushing for quicker action than not.
Okay.
And we'll keep you in the loop.
When the building committee votes on the location of the swing area, does that have to be in the agenda, 24 hours at a time as a motion?
I probably will. I would think we would have to do that. They're going to spell out a whole host of things for us, so we can certainly do that. Yeah, so you can come. I want to go back to some of the other things you said. I share the same concerns about the playground. When we met with the Hanmer, we did the tour, and we met with the Hanmer folks. I mean, the principal, one of his biggest concerns was the playground as it is right now, that it's right in the middle of a park, and that people have unfettered access, whether they're walking their dogs. Not trying to parlay into the previous discussion, but no matter what, there's always something going on down there. So I think if, in fact, that's going to be the space, we're going to have to look at it. I'm guessing that during construction, they can block things off. And if I remember correctly, looking at the swing school itself, once they put the school there, there'll be a road constructed, I believe, on the north side, and I think they can dedicate a lot of the construction access from there to keep it away from the existing school. No matter where we go, it's, there's, whenever you have construction vehicles, that was one of the reasons people asked, why can't you renovate these schools while kids are in it? And that was exactly the reason. It's like, could you imagine trying to renovate a school with elementary school age kids in there? I mean, what could go wrong? So we and the committee were adamant that we weren't going to entertain that at all. Yeah, I think it increases the cost. It stretches the time out.
Yes.
And it makes a really poor learning environment for little kids. So we're not going to do that. But that will definitely, the safety is going to be paramount, and we will no matter where the swing is, we're going to have to look at any of that. So touche.
Regarding that, Russ, where were all of the people who show up to work as part of the construction crew? Where will they park?
I have no idea. There'll be a staging area. There's always staging areas in construction sites. Okay. I mean, listen, I think we have town assets across the street. Is it Solomon Wells?
Solomon Wells.
I mean, there's a parking lot back there. I mean, they can dictate where the staff, the people that are working at any time. We certainly, the town can determine and say, no, we're not parking in the teacher's lot. So that's for sure. Did I catch everything you asked? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else for questions for Russ? All right, we'll let you go.
Thanks, Rose. Geez, I could go all night now.
Thank you very much.
So thank you all, and I look forward to getting you some real information, and I look forward to working with all of you to get us to the goal that we have.
This is so exciting, Russ.
Sure is.
We really are very excited about
it. Sure is. Thank you very much.
Future. Thank you.
Thanks, Russ.
You're welcome.
Okay, so meetings held, and I think I go on first here with CREC. So CREC Council met on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. The CREC Council is the Capital Region Educational Council, of which Wethersfield is a member, along with 35 other surrounding towns. The council is responsible for the regional magnet schools and Project Choice. They have also organized and are running the Hartford Head Start program. A very interesting meeting because it began with a presentation by Dr. Greg Florio, our CREC Executive Director, on the CREC budget process, which is different than that of a local Board of Ed. The budget's developed based on projected revenue and are currently being drafted by CREC divisions and programs. Over the next several months, the Finance and Audit Committee will review these budgets and recommend them for approval to the full board. The legislative discussion was front and center at this meeting, and they all go together. The correct legislative priorities for this season are focused on magnet school funding. The student-centered funding formula was partially implemented last legislative session, but needs clarifying action in this current session. The meeting discussion continued, including a history of magnet school funding, and highlighted the state's lack of support for its share of the cost over the past decade and a half. CREC has worked hard to balance the challenge of funding high-quality magnet schools operated on behalf of the state under the Chef Court settlement and the impact it has on local districts sending students to those schools. CREC will continue to advocate for that balance during this legislative session. We really weren't supposed to pay for the students. It was a state mandate. They didn't do it. Okay, so other ones that are up are student program and services. Janice, can you talk still?
Some more, sure. I think that it's important to note that these courses that we approved of this evening are reflective of our teachers' ongoing efforts to engage and challenge our students. Our teachers look for a variety of opportunities and ways to make courses match the interests, experiences, and maturity level of our students. Simply writing up the proposals can reflect hours of work, which comes after the great effort and research and commitment required to develop ideas. We are fortunate to have so many hardworking and selfless professionals. These courses, whether we're talking about PE classes or college courses, always engage our students in rigor, critical thinking, collaboration, and problem solving.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And Matt, on our finance meeting?
Thank you, Bobby. So the Finance Committee met prior to tonight's Board of Ed meeting. A couple highlights from that meeting. One being the fact that we are currently under budget, which is always a good thing, to the tune of about $105,000. The reasons for that being, we are realizing significant potential savings from the result of lower cost new hires replacing teacher resignations and retirements. That number is rather large, but it is being offset due to overspending on substitute teachers and retroactive payments related to the new secretary, para-educator, tutor contracts that we recently ratified. Finally, we started discussing this year's, or next year rather's, budget, the 2025 Board of Ed budget. Those discussions have now begun. Numbers are still moving, but we will begin nailing them down and annoying the town council and annoying each other by the end of this process, I'm sure, which is lengthy, but it's for a good cause and it must be done. February 1st, from 9 to 12 a.m. at the Stillman Building is our first budget workshop. It'll be the first of 3. That's it.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, we have meetings scheduled. There's a special meeting of the Board of Ed, a budget workshop, as Matt just said, on February 1st at 9 o'clock. Human Resource and Personnel on February 3rd at 6 o'clock. And Student Program and Services on February 4th at 6 o'clock. All right, is there anyone wishing to come up and speak? Come on up to the podium and state your name and address, and may I remind you that you have 5 minutes.
I'm back. Sarah Gantley, 16 The Cartway. So I'm a Webb parent, and I'm really disappointed that you guys tabled the motion to not approve of the service dog at Webb. It seemed pretty clear that you'd received information ahead of time, and I just don't know why those questions weren't asked so that we could have more specific answers ahead of time. And so I know I asked questions before, and I know you can't answer me directly, but what is the dollar amount that you need to have committed from the Webb PTO to be able to vote yes on this? Because we do have a really robust budget, and this is something that collectively people have a PTO, seems like Mr. Emmett, Liz, who is our Board of Ed rep, seem like they're really on board with. And so what's that dollar amount? Because if you need a dollar amount to be able to say yes, to know that the Webb PTO and the Webb school system, community is gonna fund the dog, then give us that number. But the not approving it because of all of these questions that seem like they could have been answered in advance is very frustrating. Additionally, Webb does house our LEAP program, right? We have a high need population of students with special needs. We have a high population of children who are non-English speaking. And so if the town did have to chip in a little bit of money for this, it seems like a small price to pay, considering that our community, our Webb community, has a disproportionately high number of these students. And our PTO, Mr. Craig, our community, we stand behind these kids, and we get the money to come up with things, and we fund getting speakers for our auditorium, even though that shouldn't have to come out of PTO funding. So we've come up and funded things that we shouldn't have to fund for the school, that should have been funded by the town. So please just give us a number and tell us what we need to have, because the PTO did say that we would be happy to make that a line item in our budget moving forward. And I've got up before to speak about students and ICE and all of that in a time when like there's so much uncertainty and so much turmoil and so many challenges. Like, can we please just get a win somewhere? Can we have a dog, a service dog, a therapy dog for our students, for our teachers? Like, like, it feels like every day we turn on things and we hear that federal grants are like, can we get something, especially when we've already said that we can pay for it? And so I would just ask that, like, when you review all of this, please just come back with something specific, tangible that you need to get approved from our PTO, like, or just the community at large. Because, like, as you could see, Veronica and Jenna Parlante, who got up here to talk for the Puppies Club, they raised $360 by doing Pajama Day. Like, our Webb kids are amazing. You heard them. They've raised thousands of dollars. Like, these little kids raise thousands of dollars. Please don't doubt that their parents could raise thousands of dollars if we needed to for our service dog. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? I think we're all set. All right, are there any board comments? Dennis?
I went to the Charles Wright PTO meeting on last Wednesday, the 22nd. And like other schools, on the 5th of February, Charles Wright is joining in the Global Day of Play. They're combining it, as the other schools are, with Read Aloud Day. And if there's no snow days before then, it will also be the 100th day of school. So the lower grades will be celebrating that. And really importantly, Charles Wright's weekend backpack program for families in their district experiencing food insecurity continues to grow. After running out of shelf space because of all the donations they have in the room that was donated to them by Trinity Church, the church donated more shelving. And they're able to accept fresh food and frozen foods because they have a couple of mini fridges, and Mr. Hoarder donated a freezer. Boy Scout Pack 246 held a food drive last month for this project, and they received the backpack program received a $3,000 grant from the Greater Together Hartford Foundation for Giving. PTO members are looking at the possibility of pursuing a grant from Food Share for equipment. On their Thanksgiving holiday, they were able to provide participating families with everything they needed for Thanksgiving dinner, as well as fulfilling their usual weekly needs. So that's the main thing.
I just have to say, I'm thrilled that Charles Wright did that. Hunger Action left town. They did. There was a chapter here, and they left. So I'm glad people are putting themselves together, and the students are too. Great. Thank you for that. Anyone else with a closing comment? Anyone?
I'll take one. I just want to say how appreciative I am of all the people who worked really hard to bring out all these new courses and new curriculums, and it's just it's amazing all the different choices that high school students and now some of the curriculum with the 7th grade, how much they have in the high school. And I know I go on and on about AP classes and college credit classes, but I'm just doing the math from when my daughter started in 2019. I counted, it was like 17 college credit classes, maybe 17 to 8, maybe like 19, and now there's going to be about 28 classes offered at the high school where someone can get college credit. Some are AP, some are ECE, and some are just through another program, through a community college program. Great. So it's just, I would really encourage every kid to try to take these classes to get college credit. And also the Student Programs and Services Committee, they just work so hard, and all the things they have to read through and the presentations they have to see and all the teachers involved. I just really want to see how much I appreciate all that work that they've done. And I've heard that there's World Play Day, Wethersfield Play Day, World Play Day on February 5th, right?
That's us too. We get to play all day. Yeah.
I wish. So I'm looking forward to hearing all the different schools and what they're doing, because I have a sense that there's a lot of planning going on around that. That's great. do I have? And just want to quickly kind of talk about, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about the dog presentation. I think one of the things I'm hoping just to get information is, like, I'm not saying that the PTOs can't raise money. My concern is that it says in the write-up that we got that the district will be responsible for this and the PTOs are responsible for that. I'm not asking the PTOs to be more responsible for more costs. I just want to know what we're responsible for, and I just think that's not clear right now based on the information we've gotten. If we get clarity, then we can plan, we can budget. It's also a long process of many years you have a dog, and I know that, you know, the PTO now and PTO tomorrow is going to be like, yeah, we're going to fund it. But people come and go, and they have their budgets, we have our budgets. Anything can happen to an animal that needs a lot of money, maybe care, because something happens to them and they need an operation or something. So I'm fine. I'm very supportive of the idea of a dog at a school, but I just want to go in with all the information, and so I'm not poo-pooing it. I just want to go with, and we did get some information, but we just didn't get a lot of details. So I'm hoping to get that.
Okay, thank you. Matt?
Yeah, I just want to say that I appreciate the fact tonight that we had multiple public speakers, and I hope they know that we actually listen to them, we value their input, and we respect their opinion.
Thank you. Liz?
Regarding the ask for the dog at Webb, I do have the benefit of seeing, what is in their budget. They have, I believe there's a capital planning. I can't remember if it's called capital planning, but they do fund things like that, and I think that as that information is shared, it might help to bring more color to the conversation. I was at an advantage in that situation because I do have copies of that, but I think you do have a capital planning section.
Yeah, great.
So I'm looking forward to that discussion.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I have, go ahead,
Just
Michael.
a quick thing, Sarah, just to give you at least a partial win this evening, an update on my communication at this point. I had made mention of the issue with the freeze on federal loans. My understanding at this point, a judge has dropped the free, or has blocked the freeze, has blocked the freeze temporarily. My understanding it is through Monday afternoon. So again, not a direct impact on Wethersfield Public Schools at this point in time. We'll certainly be monitoring what happens in the coming days. So.
Thank you. Okay, I have a few comments here on other things that contribute to the Wethersfield school system, and that's Keen on Kids. We met on Thursday, January 23rd. And the meeting is a coalition of Keene, Park and Rec, Central Connecticut Health District, the Library, Police, Wethersfield Public School, and Social Services. We began with a review of the current Keene after-school program and the hands-on learning science program and the Encore program. So the after-school winter program has 931 enrollments, and all 5 elementary musicals began rehearsals. So stay tuned for Spring Broadway in Wethersfield with Shrek, Frozen, Addams Family, Willy Wonka, and SpongeBob. Also, a new Play and Create Club has begun in the Keene for Kids, inspired by the book Anxious Generation, to focus on screen-free time activities for the kids. The Keene Hands-On Learning has the 6th graders have completed their science unit, and the 5th graders will be done by the end of January. The Encore program has 26 students involved at the middle school, and work is on social, emotional, physical, and academic areas. Brooke Berry, our library director, excitedly told the work of the Story Walk in Wintergreen Woods and work on the renovations to the library. Watch for more book news through our library website. And the Mayor's Ball is on Friday, February 14th at the Keeney Center, brought to you by our Chamber of Commerce. Don't miss out on this opportunity to make a difference in our community, with proceeds going to our Wethersfield Food Bank and the American Veterans Traveling Tribute. The Traveling Tribute Wall will be in town starting on September 11th. How incredible this is for our town. And the Kid Mayor and Chair essay contest has started, with the Mayor and Chair speaking at assemblies for our 5th and 6th graders. All students will soon have the info for the contest. The contest writing ends on February 28th. I want to thank Kristen Underhill, when Sally's not here right now, our assistant extraordinaire for helping us with all of the advertising, flyers, and contest setup. Thank you, Kristen. And last, our superintendent search continues. We have all focus groups completed and the community surveys are done. Thank you to the many people who participated. The applications for candidates for superintendent are due on February 12th. CES, our consultants, will be putting together our candidate's profile for all the input, from all the input that has been given, and that will be followed by interviews in March. The board will continue to give updates on this process, important process, as we move forward. So thank you. And I don't forget, Angelina, do you have anything to tell us about that fabulous high school?
Yeah, I have some fun, exciting updates. So we just finished up our our midterms last week, but before that, it was actually my DECA partner as part of our community awareness project for digital wellness and safety, also inspired by the anxious generation. We hosted a social media detox day the Friday before midterms, and we had approximately around 100 students, including myself and Ava. It was not easy, but it was definitely refreshing, and it worked out well with it being before midterms, not use social media for the day. And speaking of DECA, this week is really exciting because all of our hard months of, or few months of hard work are going to wrap up as we submit our projects for the state competition. And then today was also a really special day for the seniors. It was our cap and gown measurements. It was really bittersweet. Next week is the 8th grade night, and we're also planning ahead all of our clubs and sports and whatnot. And a couple of other things are happening in the near future. The National English Honor Society is starting up a tutoring center focused specifically on essay help and writing. And then for Spanish Honor Society, we're starting up signups for the culture night. It's going to be held on February 26th, and we expect a great number of people to show up, both with their presentations and to walk around. And lastly, this Saturday, the Wethersfield Historical Society is hosting a fun decorating event for straw hats that the students who are performing in Hello Dolly will wear in March. So these are some updates at the high school.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, anyone else before we move on to, is there any unfinished business tonight? All right, no, okay. I'm going to talk about Liz Walters for a minute. She does lots of quotes, and she's kind of got me hooked on looking at quotes now. And a great one came up for our town as we work to build for our future. And it's quote, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success." And those buildings will be built. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We won't say anybody's opposed to that. So our next Board of Ed meeting is February 11th. Thank you all and good night. That was a long ride.
Yeah,
The longest
I know,
one.
too.